Hi friends, my name is Nikita and today I am going to talk about those books that I read during lockdown, and I am going to give you little reviews so that it might be helpful to you if you want to buy those books and read it. So let's get started. Very first book that I want to talk about is Let Me Be a Woman, and I have no words to describe this book. This is just simply amazing one, and I totally love this one. This is the very first book that I read during lockdown in March. I bought this book 4-5 years ago, but I never had any desire to read this book. But during lockdown, I was looking for new books and I found this one in my cupboard. And I was really surprised that why I have not gone through this book yet. This book is totally a masterpiece, I would say. From the very first chapter, this book is written in such a manner you might like to read it in just one go. The author has really an inspirational thinking. The way she has written this book, I would definitely recommend this book to each and every Christian woman. She has explained it really well, how to live as a Christian woman and how a singleness as well as marriage is a gift from God. I would say this book has changed the way I was thinking about marriage and singleness. So the next book that I want to show is When You Have Been Wronged, Moving from Bitterness to Forgiveness. And this book is all about how to forgive, how to experience forgiveness. So let's talk about it. This book also I got along with the earlier one 4-5 years ago. I have already gone through this book, but during lockdown I thought let me read it. So this was my second time of reading this book. This book helps in understanding the term of forgiveness. The content of the book explains you how and why you should forgive someone who has done wrong with you, why you should not store the bitterness, and why you should move from bitterness to forgiveness, as the title itself speaks about it. In this book, author has explained it really well, all the points using the biblical characters, and my favorite character is story of Joseph. The language used in the book is really simple and one can easily understand what the author is trying to explain. This book has helped me in understanding how God has forgiven me, and this is what I need to do with others. Do I recommend this book? Yes, I totally recommend this book. The next book in my list is Emotionally Healthy Spirituality by Peter Scazzero, and the title itself says that it's impossible to be spiritually mature while remaining emotionally immature, and this is all about being spiritually mature person. This book is different from other books. It contains total 8 chapters and we can actually study one chapter per week. So if we study the book deeply chapter by chapter, it will take 8 weeks. I am reading this book slowly and trying to understand the content. I am currently at halfway now, but this book is really an amazing study book. It is very practical. If you feel that you are lacking in your spiritual journey because of your emotions, or I would say the emotions which you have not processed with, sometimes you may feel overwhelmed, happy, sad, broken, and you choose not to process those feelings and emotions, and it becomes the iceberg of emotions over the time. You really need to process them, otherwise it can become the hurdle in your spiritual life. So this book is really helpful in breaking those iceberg of emotions. I definitely recommend this book to every person who wants to become mature spiritual person. The next book in the list is Five Love Languages by Dr. Gary Chapman, and this book is really an amazing one, and I totally love this one. So let's talk about it in detail. So here is the next book, and this is The Five Love Languages by Gary Chapman. There was one book by Gary Chapman on anger, and that book was one of my favorites. And from that time onwards, I was having my eye on all the publications and books by him. And this particular book is, I think, one of the most popular books of Gary Chapman, and by reading all the positive reviews, I was attracted to buy this book even if I am single. This book talks about the five love languages which are extremely important to understand if you want the relationship to last long and be successful. These five love languages include words of affirmation, acts of service, receiving gifts, quality time, and physical touch. In this book, the author explains how two different persons can have two different primary love languages, and if you fail to understand your partner's primary love language, you will fail to express your side and fail to understand their side. And I think not only in love relationships but also in other relationships, these love languages play an important role. The language of the book is really simple, and I think this book is written in very understandable manner, so I definitely suggest this one. Next book, the last book in my list is The Pursuit of God by A.W. Tozer, and this is one of my most favorite. A.W. Tozer is one of my favorite mentors. I just keep reading his writings and passages, and I found them really inspiring. I had the e-book, the e-version of this book, but I wanted to have a hard copy, so I wanted to buy it, and I got it as a gift. I like hard copies over the e-books, so I was really happy when I received it. The language of the book is not really simple, and this book talks so deeply about how to follow God, how to pursue God. But those who have just started their spiritual journey will not be able to understand the content of this book 100%. I would say this book is for mature Christians. I mean, for those who are mature in the spiritual life. All the chapters from this book teach you something new, but my favorite one is 9th chapter, that is meekness and rest. This particular chapter has taught me how to become meek person, and this whole book is just so amazing. It is very small, but it is very effective, and I totally fell in love with this book. It is simply amazing.